Okay. All right, excellent. All right. All right, thank you so much. All right, we will get started then. We're calling to order at 5:36. And looks like everyone's here. And then do we have any public comments before we get started? What? No? Okay. All right, then I sent you guys the minutes from June 3rd and July 10th. So we just need to get those approved. So I want to make a
I'll
motion.
make a motion to approve the minutes from June 3rd and July 10th, 2025.
I'll second.
All right. I will approve it. Go also, so we're good to go there. Okay, we're gonna start old business on, I sent you guys the bid for the bid for Hometown Consulting. So I'm thinking right now I have to, I went over this with the mayor and we need what they can do. They can do what we need for them. In my opinion, they would be cheaper than getting an actual economic development director in office, because then we're not paying out benefits and all that extra stuff. And they have offered, because I think the plan that I was looking at was probably the middle plan, which is about $50,000 for the contract period. What? 55,000.
How
But-
was the period?
That was it, 1 year?
2 years.
2 years, 2 years. So for 2 years at 50,000 for both years, is that what I'm,
55,000.
sorry, I keep saying 50.
55,000 total for both years.
No,
No, per year.
per year.
But that's, like I said, that's cheaper than going and finding a full-time economic development director paying
About
a
1 year.
much
salary.
higher, that's even lower than a wage salary for somebody else,
Mhm.
and you don't have to pay the benefits. However, I did kind of explain our financial situation, and they said they'd be willing to do a $10,000 retainer, and then help us to do a business development district, and then go from there once we start bringing money in from that. However, looking at our budget, I'm thinking, Brian and I discussed this last week, and it sounds like it might be a better idea to hold off until we can fit at least the 10,000 into next year's budget, because right now our economic development budget is 0. And we can only pay for out of TIF 4 with part of their fee due to the needing to cover the whole town, and that only paying for that part. So, we kind of just, the mayor and I kind of discussed looking into the business development district. And I think that would be a faster process than putting in a TIF or extending a TIF. It would be we could include all of the businesses here in town. And I think it could potentially be more beneficial than the TIF. And it would not affect the taxing bodies. So I don't know if you guys had a chance to look through the presentation that I found on the state's website to kind of give you an idea of what the business districts would be. If you have any questions or.
I actually had a conversation with Kathy Orr that sidetracked into this today.
Did
So
you?
like this today at lunch, so if you want me to add.
Yeah, absolutely.
So much like a TIF, a business development district runs for 23 years. It adds a 1% sales tax to retails. It does not to like things like groceries, medicines, things like that. So it's just specific to retail items. And it could be used, it actually has more flexibility than TIF funds. TIF funds can only be used for certain things related to infrastructure, whereas the business development district tax could, build a building actually. And so some of the requirements mirror that of a TIF. We got to be in a blighted area, has to be all contiguous, so everything has to connect. It can include residences, believe it or not, to allow it to connect to different things. And the expenditures operate much the same fashion as the current TIF, where somebody fills out an application and then the council takes a vote on whether or not we want to make that expenditure. We, rather than waiting year over year to get funds, I believe it's in the thing that they're dispersed every 4 months by the state. And so there is opportunity here. And so to echo what Sarah was saying about not only the hometown consulting proposal, but any proposal in relationship to this, I support this. I support economic development. But I do feel as if though I would rather look at a revenue stream first and build a long-term economic development plan that will fit our community's needs. So I was impressed with Hometown Consulting. I think they offer some great services. There are other organizations I want to dig into a little bit. I sent Sarah some of that the other day. I just want to do some research. You're probably very familiar with one of them. They did a mapping session here like 13 years ago. Illinois.
I just kind of caught that
Illinois
email last
Institute
night. I
of
didn't-
Rural Affairs is what it's called, and they came in and did a mapping session in Kelowna in 2012. Substantially less. I would say that some of the services mirror what Hometown Consulting would offer, but it's not the whole package that Hometown Consulting would offer. I also would, I don't know what other vendors are out there, so with the price of this, it might be more beneficial that if we build this into a long-term plan, that we actually bid it out. And so interested in moving forward, would like to generate the revenue source beforehand and include that as part of our plan to help offset the costs. Like she said, even if we did the 10,000, we have to take it out of TIF funds, and we can only take a portion of it because those funds can only be applied and used within the TIF. They can't be used for the entire city. So again, I'm not trying to build roadblocks. I want to tear them down long term, but I feel like if we had a more focused plan and then a plan paid for it, even if it is just getting, if this is the direction the council wants to go, we build it into fiscal year 26 budget and then and go from there. So I appreciate any feedback you guys have.
When you said that it would include residents, are you referring to like the residents that are, have businesses out of their homes?
No, it actually is just within the path. So for instance, if we run into, and this is the way I understand it, Jim, so if I'm telling her wrong, please correct me. I'm still a
good on
student.
this either.
Yeah, I'm still a student. This was all based off what Kathy, our TIF attorney, told me today. Is that, like, say for instance, we wanted this to go reach Swannies, right? They don't really have businesses, a business corridor, much like maybe Maria's or Glazed, where they have several businesses connecting. Then we could conclude the residents along the way. I don't know that that means that they're able to, I don't think they're able to, like a resident can apply for funds because it has to be for business development, I believe. There's got to be that nexus, but you can include them in the path to get them within that contiguous boundary. The actual development of a business development district is much like a TIF. You have to establish parcels, right? Well, they actually prefer addresses on this side, it's a little different, but you send the state these addresses, right? And we predetermine them, put them in a redevelopment plan, and then we have to have blight. We have to want to make it, improve blight, and we've already established that. So the redevelopment plan was actually written in 2023. It's never been formally adopted, but we would only have to update that and then add those, add the properties that we would want to be built within it. The hard part is it's a 1% sales tax, right? It's adding a cost. The ideology though is that we're spreading that cost not on just Kelowna residents, but we would be trying to get that non-resident revenue, like whatever I learned, NRR, off the interstate, right? Like it's, the shoppers that go to Shell station, things like that. It doesn't have an impact on things that you might purchase there.
But I don't
And
think
so-
that's going to be too big of an issue because I think we're still lower than
We're much
most
lower.
everybody in the
We
cities right now.
absolutely are.
What do
You
you-
go to
What did you say?
So,
our sales tax 8.5,
8.5?
so we would be raising it to 9.5.
mhm.
And so we can do this with council vote. It only takes a majority of council vote. You can also still put in place a TIF if the council wanted to. This tax operates outside of the TIF. Very unpopular thing, much
So-
like our water rate.
Explain to me how, I guess I'm trying to grasp what you're saying. So we would do an economic development, like a business district.
Mhm.
It's easy to get Maria's, the China.
Mhm.
Well, we'd still start
Very
on the edge of town. We'd still be able to work it all the way through town and see what we
I mean,
can.
and we definitely want to come out
We'll see.
with Rock River Electric and.
I want to say there was something in there about needing to connect, but I'm not as knowledgeable. I'm hoping there's something more I can find out next week at IML. But otherwise, I'm gonna have to do some more research. But we can include as many of our businesses, and it doesn't have to be separated like a TIF. We don't have to worry about pulling from taxing body monies.
So you essentially could do a circle around
You
Kelowna.
could do,
Or whatever it works, but as long as we include we can get as many.
Or you do like a circle here, connect it this way, a circle here. Is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
just has to be contiguous.
Yeah,
So we
So-
could get all the way down to even best.
We
So then what the benefits of that to residents by putting them in there is if you did if a business went in there, if the road got work done because of infrastructure, whatever, they would
More
benefit that way,
business,
but they wouldn't have a
So-
tax increase.
The long-term benefit is to increase our economic development, right? To bring more business to Kelowna, to improve upon the blight, to make our businesses more appealing. And as such, bring in more sales tax revenue to offset our increasing costs. So that's the benefit to a Kelowna resident, is that we're trying to generate revenues to help bring businesses in. That's gonna create more sales tax revenue just in general, because we're bringing more growth. And that's gonna help offset these costs that we're talking about.
So when you do something like that, from our standpoint, and we make this continual, then when we do a building or we do the funds, when the funds start coming in, even if it's 10 years down the road, we're gonna wanna make sure that we encompass areas that maybe we see a hotel someday off the interstate.
we can add
We
and
wanna-
delete as we go, as time goes on. We don't have to make it all.
Okay, so it's not like a
it's done.
tip where you're stuck in
No.
that.
It can, no.
Annually, I believe, right?
Yeah, I believe annually, you should if we start, you can only start it 2 times a year. One's at the beginning of the fiscal year and one time, I think it's in like July of your fiscal year.
April.
And so if you want to have a new address added by January 1st, as long as you have the information, the address added and included by October, the date of October, I believe, then as a matter of fact, even just getting this started, to get it started, if we want to start it for January 1st, as long as we have it by a certain date in October, all this information and by first day of October, we could still do it. I mean, we're not going to be able to at this point for January. It'll have to be for July, to be honest, because we would have to have everything in by a date in like October, and that's just not feasible, especially since it's the setup and you're going to have to go through and add all of these addresses into a website, and we'd have to go through like a GIS system and make sure we have all of these addresses. Because if an address gets left out, we have to wait another 6 months or a year or whatever to be able to include an address.
Okay.
But we can always make additions or subtractions at least once a year.
Okay.
So we don't
Well,
have
that's
to.
good to know.
right
So
now.
it's, you're not locked in for
Right.
future growth
Right.
into that circle.
Especially if you have somebody build an exterior to that, right? Like on the outside of that,
Mm-hmm.
you want to include them moving forward, yeah.
Just as long as your lines connect.
They gotta connect.
Okay. And it's not, I'm saying circle, it's not really a circle and encompassing everything. It's like a line.
Well, so figure we're
Okay.
gonna start
All
down by Velos at the edge of town,
Yeah.
down
But
that
it's
area.
like a line.
And we'll
It's-
go through, we can go up Cleveland Road so that we can hit Swanee's and whatever else is down there. We'll come back through, so
A
just
lot.
keep going through
Right,
town,
the Burns,
keep going down
Shell.
84. Yeah,
Some communities do their whole town.
yeah. So I mean, if we want to get
I
everybody,
mean, we would really be beneficial to do 90% of our town.
yeah, because it's basically going to hit all of 84 from the edge of town all the way to probably close to Route 6. Down Cleveland Road to a point, Poppy Garden, and down Route 6 to a point even.
I mean,
We might
this
have,
is down.
I don't know how much of our Briar Bluff is ours,
Southwest and-
because I think we have some businesses down by Briar Bluff. So I mean, there's,
Just keep in mind that you can't do this on a service industry business though. So like
Yeah.
you mentioned, Rock River Electric, that's service, that's service.
okay.
Well, on their labor, right, they
Yeah.
can't, but on the materials, they can.
Yeah. I'll have to dig
I
into
can't
that.
remember whether
Yeah, like I
she
said,
said
we have
that
to-
was okay or not.
We still have to dig into it more, but we're throwing this out there as an option.
I mean, like Best, you know, you've said a few times, like Best, they don't tax on labor, but you tax on
On the product.
the product, so material or whatever.
Yeah, and I'm
So
not
you
sure
still, they
how-
still pay sales tax.
So anything that is recorded to the state, i.e. like a vehicle,
Yeah, that,
Well, and they would, Rock River would charge sales tax on, if they come in and they would charge it on the wire and their outlets and their,
but do they? I don't know. I have to
oh,
look
they
at
would
their,
have to.
I have to look at their business plan.
I would think so.
But like car dealerships, you don't have any, but if you did, you
Yeah.
wouldn't be doing that.
right?
You wouldn't be taxing that. They're pretty restricted.
Yeah, it's pretty,
Um,
but liquor stores, any retail, you can tax. Dollar General,
Mhm.
well, except for the groceries don't. That doesn't apply to
Mhm.
groceries, so they'd have to separate it out. We still have a lot to learn. This is.
Restaurants then, that's a service though.
No,
no, that's tax.
that's, we charge a service tax, but is that part of it? I don't remember, and I actually wrote it down in a different notebook, but we do have, quite a bit of research. Now it's a good time to start talking about it so that we can get this, if the council elected to move forward, like Sarah said, that we would have to, we would have to present by April 1 to the state, I think so many days in advance, I think 30 days in advance, we'd have to submit our application. So it would be up to this committee as to whether or not they wanted to move forward with it, to become very educated on it so that we can do a formal presentation to council. Kathy Orr can actually put this in place for us. She's done a lot of these.
I want to see if our red team from DCEO, Regional Economic Development, leader, Adrian, is your red team leader. And I'm going to email out to him right now. And I believe they probably are the ones that sponsor this through DCEO. So Kathy would be great for it, but we also can hear from the experts who
Yeah.
actually are administering this.
That'd be great.
So I've got that, and I'll let you know who our contacts are for this Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCU. So I've got that written down. Actually, I sent him an email already.
Tim, can you tell me whether any other municipalities in Henry County have this?
We tried to put it in Kiwanee, and with the mall district over there, and we have not yet. So we did have, and I'll get you that information. I think Kiwanee did do it years ago, and it was very, very successful. But the thing you gotta look at is, yes, it sounds like it falls on the back of Kelowna residents, but it really doesn't. Think of how much outlying people come into Kelowna and purchase something. So you're getting a boost in tax dollars by other people coming here. And they don't really complain about seeing, oh, it's 9.5%. They're not really gonna see it. They will, but they're not gonna be too concerned about it, meaning the people who are spending their money and looking at this. We were looking at 10% in Kiwanee. And once you get to double digits, people start noticing.
Wasn't that, I mean, all of our outlying cities, I mean, that's kind of where they're at, right?
They have yes, and actually, there are some BDDs in the Quad Cities. I think Rock Island really uses this tool effectively, and I'll check with the Rock-On. I was just meeting with them today, and I didn't think to put this whole thing together. So when you start
Yeah.
talking, I'm like, oh, yeah. So I'll check with some folks there, because they're putting this on the table right now. Yeah.
Okay.
And again, the good thing is, it's not a public vote. It's a county vote. So, aldermen, trustees, you guys will make this decision.
Is that a lot of work put on Charlotte?
It doesn't necessarily even have to be just Charlotte doing it. I mean, I'm more than happy, a lot of it's going to be data input.
Probably, yeah.
So, that's
I was just reading
something,
the paperwork and just texting clerk, I'm like,
I'll have some time too this winter that I can help.
yeah, so once we get a better idea of what all goes into it, what we need to get done, I mean, then we'll have a better idea of how to proceed and move forward. And who needs to do what.
I think it won't be near as cumbersome as it was creating TIF 5, without a doubt. You're not pulling every single pin on this, you're just pulling an address.
Mhm.
And, I mean, all we need to know is who are our businesses, and who do we want in this, and you just put the business address in there. And, oh my gosh, we missed one, 6 months later, do an amendment, and you add them in. You know, we got 23 years in this process, so businesses are gonna come and they're gonna go.
Well, the good news is you can add them in
Yeah.
6 months, or you can take it away. So, I mean, that's helpful.
So it would give us a mechanism for when businesses want to improve their facades. Again, not a popular thing, but if you have some structural issues or you have something, it does give us the ability to help.
It's
their
a little more
causes.
freedom than with TIFs.
Yeah, because you still got quite a few businesses that are not in a TIF who really needed a lot of help and couldn't do it. If you would have had this in place, you could have done it. You could have helped them with their pay.
Well, and
Their-
with,
Their disaster, the water collapse, you know what I'm talking about.
right, and with the 84 project coming up here in the next couple of years, this will be very beneficial with helping out
Good
our
Yes,
84
absolutely.
businesses. If we can get this up and running so we can have some bank in there before that starts.
Yeah.
That'll be very beneficial.
Now, do you say that every 4 months, the state cuts a check? So the state's collecting the money, so the state's gonna send it back to you?
That's the way I understand
I
it.
think it's every 3, because it's every quarter.
And maybe
Every
right there.
quarter.
Yeah, every 3 months, so it's every
So-
quarter.
All right, so 4, you said 4 payments, so
Yeah,
that'd be all right, yeah. I don't know why I was thinking that through.
It would make
Yeah.
sense because businesses pay sales tax every
Right.
quarter.
So then you create a line item, the BDD line item, and then you control it.
Mhm.
Well, I think this is a good idea, actually.
yeah.
I think it's an excellent idea.
So you spun this away from
Well,
hometown consulting.
Yes, and that's
So-
kind of what
They're just intertwined.
they
Yeah.
kind of like, because how it came about was because, like I said, they offered to start on a $10,000 retainer and then to help us get this started.
Instead of anything else?
And then once we got the district up and running, they would then proceed with what we needed, then we could move forward and discuss further.
Because they don't even talk about BDD unless you're in
No.
option 2.
It's because I went back to him and he was
And enterprise.
he followed up and asked, how are things going? Where are we at? Sort of thing. And I told him, I said, unfortunately, right now, what we're sitting at, and I gave him kind of the down low on TIF 4 and where we're at with not really moving much with TIF 5 and the budget issue. And that's when he said, well, here's what we can do. Would it be interested in this $10,000 retainer? And then we move forward and help you with this BDD. And then we can move forward once you guys have some income coming in with that.
What assistance can they do on enterprise zone?
I don't know.
I mean, I would say that if we were gonna pay them a $10,000 retainer and for them to help us with this, then I would expect them to have it up and going fast.
Yeah, I would absolutely. But the thing is
What's
we're,
that?
presented to you. You guys are the ones gonna get up and go. And they're gonna,
Yes.
you're saying that for 10 grand, they're gonna do all the legwork that your clerk was gonna do?
I don't know, that, we didn't get into that, we just said, all he said was, here, let me pull up the text here real quick.
While you're doing that, I will say that Hometown Consulting is working very deeply with Galva. And I spoke with Galva today, and they're having a meeting this week. I'm not sure when. And I asked them, what was the value? Did Hometown Consulting, Cole McDaniel and his team, they got like 4 people now. What was it like? He said, they're embedded in the community. They're there every day. And he says, I can't get my council to let them go. I said, what do you mean? He's like, well, their contract's up and we want to recontract her. I said, they're doing that much? Are they really? He said, yeah, so much. And I'm like, well, I'll share that, which I'm sharing now
That's-
because they do.
Well, and I don't know if you were here when he was here.
No, I wasn't, but I know Cole.
Okay, so, we have land and property and a cabin on Lake Wildwood in Varna, Illinois, and we go through Henry.
Mhm.
And so we've been 8 years going back and forth, and they have done the town of Henry. And I was telling him when he was here, I've seen impeccable changes. I mean, they have done outstanding. I mean, they went from being a ghost town of barely anything. I mean, it's just a bleep when you pass through, and now they have, you come in and there's a Casey's and a Dollar General, and a Dollar Tree and a Save-A-Lot and a grocery store and 2 hotels and restaurants. And I mean, it's just, it's a nice town. It's really turned a corner.
And you relate that to Hometown Consulting or? the
That is
assistants?
Hometown.
That is,
from
and he
them.
said, when he was here, I said, I have seen all of these changes. Just in the 8, over the 8 years that we've been driving back and forth. And he's told us that is a lot of what they've brought in and what they've done to help.
It's cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
It's not even my budget, but I look at these numbers going, oh man, guys, that's a lot.
Okay,
Did you
so-
ever say, sorry, if you can pick and choose from like, Plan 3?
I haven't talked to him about that yet because we kind of got stopped after the TIF joint board review
Hmm.
and the status of how all that is going. So here is, he said, if the city would entertain a business development district, we would all allow you to just pay us a retainer of like 10,000 and we'll walk you through it. And once it's producing income, we get a full contract and that's the revenue source. That's what he told me.
Sarah, do we have a way that we can call, or Jim, do you know, is there a way that we can find out statewide what they collect in the sales tax right now
How
Yeah.
much?
For the community,
for the community
we collected $368,000 last year.
for the whole year?
Correct.
So 1%,
36,000.
yeah. Yeah.
Times 23 years.
Mhm.
I mean, you're gonna have to build the fund,
Mhm.
but 36,000, 10 years is 360.
So that'll grow too if we have more business.
Yeah.
Continue to grow.
So you grow.
Yes, if we can get growth going with that, then it will, obviously, yeah, like I said, increase.
But that would be a hefty fee to pay for his team.
The 10,000,
No, the
The-
55.
the 55,
Well, again, like I said, that's better than paying for a full economic development director on staff and.
that includes a lot.
That
That's not
is,
just
I mean,
me.
if you look,
Yeah.
because I sent you the bid, it's actually giving us, it's including some advertising, stuff in there. There's also working with making a plan and getting people, is it networking in there too? Or is there some kind of like if they know,
Yeah, I think the biggest thing here is providing municipal administration support, internal development, Basically, it's your administrator, but it's not your administrator. It's the guy, instead of doing stuff that needs to be done, and eventually you'll find out after 2 years, if you had these folks doing this and then they're gone, then you're gonna say, we need someone to do this all the time. No offense to the mayor or anybody else in this building, you gotta have an expert. You gotta have someone who has the connections, who can get an RFP in front of the right people, you know, and push what you have to offer. I mean, when I'm talking to Galva, who has an administrator, I'm talking to Cambridge, who has an administrator. These are my contacts. These are the people that we develop together with. And Kelowna is the third, you've heard me say this a million times, third largest city in Henry County, okay? And things in this office, things in this administration have to be done by someone who's, you know, here all the time. You can't be a full-time mayor, you just can't. So this is a lot of money, but this would allow you to figure out what you could have, what you should have, and what you will have in the future. And then you'll have time to go, let's put this out for bid. Let's build the project. Let's build a fund. Let's build a budget around hiring an administrator, city administrator. Future, not today, but the future. But if you don't, I mean, you gotta have something. Otherwise, we just meet here every month and go, what are we gonna do?
And we have all of these infrastructure projects that we still need to get done and need to find money for. And this would help bring in some of that money and